Hello, and welcome back to yet another build update for the Galvanic Shards Witchhunter. So, ever since my last update video, I've been working on the build and, various upgrades here and there. That's all I've been doing, really. I've just been trying to improve the build even more, give it more defenses, more damage, and I feel like I've done that. So in this video, I'm just going to be going over the changes I've made, the upgrades I've made, and this should be the final update video. I mean, I feel like I've got the build in a pretty good place now, and you're just going to be smashing all the content in the game, so... But I will always be, answering any questions or problems you guys are having in the comments, so, if you are having any problems or if you have any questions, just tag me in the comments below. Let's get into it. Okay, so first up is Galvanic Shards, our main skill here. So, I'm going to be keeping rapid attacks in their elemental armaments, fork, lightning attunement, but then you may notice I've took Arjun's Needle out. This is because it's a lot of money, first of all. I mean, if I have a look right now, if I can, if I can, I want... Where are we? I want Arjun's Needle. I have, yeah, it's gone up to 27 div. I mean, fucking hell, I should have waited. But when I sold it for about 14, and I bought it for 3 div, and, I know a lot of people, myself included, I'm not fucking made of money in this game, so it's very unaffordable for a lot of people. So I took it out of the build, mainly because I wanted to make room for an item that costs a few divines, but it just gives us so much more damage, so much more defense. But we'll talk about that item in a sec. I took Arjun's Needle out and replaced it with Defy, and this is because we have Constricting Command. And this support gem is revolved around being surrounded, so it just gives us so much more damage. So yeah, we took Arjun's Needle out and put Defy in. Much more cost effective. And I'm going to be honest, the damage is a lot better, it feels a lot better, it's just better. And then Voltaic Mark stays the exact same. Prolonged duration, overcharge, concentrated area, and then lightning attunement. And then moving on to shock burst rounds, I have made a couple of changes with this one. So we're keeping lightning attunement, and then I've slotted in concentrated area, and then I've kept elemental armament, elemental focus, and then I've slotted in Defy, obviously because we have constricting command on. So having this support gem just gives us a lot more damage, and we don't really need to worry about any mana. So that shock burst rounds, not too difficult there, it's pretty simple. Not too much has changed, except we're just slotting in Defy. Emergency reload stays the exact same. Cooldown recovery and prolonged duration. And now you might be thinking, what is this? This is attrition, so this is going to be a buff we are using for bossing. This is because this second line here, you deal 1% more hit damage to rare and unique enemies for every 2 seconds they have been in your presence, up to 57%. It's just a nice little bossing damage buff. We don't really need it, but it's just a nice bit of damage to have, especially if you're doing pinnacle bosses are a lot more tankier. You're just going to be doing more and more damage to them over time. So it's just nice to have, but we only equip it to our weapon set too, for our bossing weapon set, because it's just for bossing. And then for mapping, we can just have all of our other buffs on. So yeah, make sure you have attrition only set to weapon set 2. And no support gems in there, because we just simply do not have the spirit to slot any good ones in there. And then yeah, overwhelming presence, we just keep that. Yeah, I took the accuracy support gem out of here. This is because I unspec'd out of some herald nodes on the passive tree, so we lost some spirit reservation. So I had to take the accuracy node out here to give us some more spirit. So yeah, we can still run all of our basic buffs on our mapping weapon set. And then next, Wind Dancer, Blind, Maim, Herald of Ash, Magnified Area, Cannibalism, and Fire Mastery, and then Herald of Thunder, Lightning Attunement, Magnified Area, Long Shot, Elemental Armament, and then Elemental Focus. So yeah, pretty simple. Just changed a few things here and there on the skills, and yeah, there you go. If you want some more in-detail stuff about the skill gems where you can view it for yourself, I will be updating the build planner, which you can find in the description below. let's get into the skill tree. Okay, so moving on to the passive tree. So firstly, I'll start off with the Witchhunter passive skills. So nothing has changed here. We go for Zealous Inquisition, we go for the Culling Strike, Decimating Strike, and then we go for Witchbane here. Great damage, just great stuff. Overall great stuff, okay? And then moving on, I've made quite a few changes to the passive skill tree here to fit around Constricting Command, so I'll go through them right now. So, firstly we path down here, we go and get this projectile damage because it's just a really nice buff to damage. And then this stays the same, except I've unspec'd out of these two here because we don't really need them. Then we keep going down, and then I've gone this way for just some more movement speed, and it's just overall just a really nice feel when mapping. You don't get hindered, you don't get maimed, and you just get a bit of movement speed, so that's really good to have for mapping. And then obviously the main priority here, because we have Constricting Command now, is to go for all of these juicy surrounded nodes, okay? So we're going to go for that 20% increased attack speed while surrounded here, and then the regenerate 2.5% of maximum life per second while surrounded. And then because we have Constricting Command on, with this here, you require 5 fewer enemies to be surrounded, and surrounded is equal to when you have 5 enemies within 3 meters of you. So we are always surrounded now, so we're just getting these buffs for free. That's why this helmet's so insane. But when you're getting this helmet, make sure you get the requires 5 fewer enemies to be surrounded, okay? And then obviously we go down here to the left and get all of these juicy nodes. So we're getting 100% increased attack damage while surrounded. So we're just getting 100% increased attack damage for free, okay? And then 30% reduced attack rate. But that doesn't matter because we're getting 100% increased attack damage. And then increased movement speed. And then we get increased block chance, deflection rating, and ailment and stun threshold, which is just really, really good. And then just some attack damage and defenses around here, which is just really nice. So those surrounding nodes are just so OP. It just gives so much more damage, so much survivability. That's why I've, incorporated Constricting Command into the build, because it's just so good. And then moving on down here, we've kept the attack speed. And then we've kept this stuff, but I've just assigned these to weapon set 1 because we only need that for mapping, just for that smoother feel when reloading our Galvanic Shards. So yeah, we do that for weapon set 1. And then going up here, we keep these lightning nodes, but we've unspec'd out of the 30% chance for lightning damage with hits to be lucky. This is because we have Defying, and our attack damage with hits with supported skills is lucky while we are surrounded. And we're always surrounded, so our hits are always lucky, so we do not need this 30% chance for our hits to be lucky. Then up here we've just kept these elemental nodes, but we've set them to our bossing weapon set, because it just provides a lot more damage and we don't really need it for our mapping weapon set. Then going down here, we've selected these nodes here just for a better feel when bossing as well, so 30% increased magnitude of non-damaging ailments you inflict with critical hits, so magnitude of shock. And just some nice crit chance for our shot burst rounds when bossing. And then moving on up here, we're going to go back up here. We keep that reload speed, but only for weapon set 1, just for a nicer feel when mapping. And then we take all of these evasion nodes, and you may think why. So, if you read it, you get 100% increased evasion rating if you haven't been hit recently, but then 30% reduced evasion rating if you have been hit. But then we're getting 100% increased evasion rating if you have been hit, and then 30% reduced evasion if you haven't here. So we're basically always just gaining 70% increased evasion here. So it's just a really nice thing to have. It gives us a lot of defenses, as you can see, 60% evasion, so that's a very good bit to go for. And then we're keeping this bit here for bossing, just gives us some more damage on shock. Elemental damage here. Keeping this jewel here. Actually, I changed the jewel from that lost time jewel, whatever it was, and just slotted this one in here. And this one's just a really nice jewel. I'd go for this one if you can. And then, yeah, we unspec'd out of the elemental stuff up here, just because we didn't really need it. Especially when we're speccing into all of this and all of this, as well as this. We didn't really need that for bossing. So, yeah. And then we've put this into bossing as well, just for more magnitude of shock. We didn't really need that while mapping, only for bossing, so we've set this to weapon set 2. Then going up here, we're keeping this herald stuff for more damage. And then going up here, I'm currently pathing up here still, but I just want to go for these evasion nodes. Mainly this one here, 100% increased evasion rating for equipped body armor. That'll just give us a major boost to defense. So yeah, that's what I'm going to path to next. And then if you want a bit more bossing damage, you could just go for all of these as well. And equip that to weapon set too. But yeah, that is the passive tree. And one more thing I forgot to mention is this bit here. So this is really nice to have damage wise, so you just get increased attack damage while moving and then reduced movement speed penalty while using skills while moving. So that's really nice to have for mapping and bossing, but then I've done this for weapon set 1, these bits here, because projectile attacks have 12% chance to fire 2 additional projectiles while moving, and that's just really nice for Galvanic Shards while you're mapping, so that's why I put it as weapon set 1. So yeah, that is the passive tree. Quite a few changes here, hopefully they all made sense, but I'll go over it one more time. So damage, movement speed and immunities, lots of damage and survivability, attack speed, bit of damage as well, bossing damage, lightning damage, bossing and mapping damage, as well as just more mapping damage on this bit, lots of evasion, bossing damage, bossing damage, lots of damage, and then we're going to go for this bit here, which is more survivability. So yeah, that's that. Let's get into the gear. Moving on to the precious gear. So the main event here is obviously Constricting Command. This is a very OP helmet, but when you're getting this helmet, please make sure you are getting the require 5 fewer enemies to be surrounded. You need that because obviously you need to have 5 enemies around you to be surrounded, and then this one just counteracts that, so you don't need any enemies to be surrounded. So make sure you go for that 5 fewer enemies on the helmet. But yeah, I got lucky with this one. Got it for about, what, 6 div? I'm not sure how much it is now. I assume it's around the same price. But it's a lot more affordable than Origin's Needle, I'll tell you that. That's why I took that out of the build, because it's just so much money. But yeah, this is a really good helmet. It gives us so much damage and a nice bit of survivability as well. And moving on to the main event here as well. Another main event, not the main event. The main event is Constricting Command, but this is like the... This is a crossbow I crafted myself the other day. My first proper craft in this game, and it's this. It's pretty insane. So I went for +7 levels to all projectile skills. I went for a lot of added lightning damage, and then more lightning damage, gain 29% of damage as extra lightning damage. That's just a really nice boost. And then chance to gain onslaught. Onslaught is basically when you kill an enemy, you have a chance to get skill speed and movement speed. And then got that juicy elemental damage with attacks, and then didn't really want that life per enemy hit, but I'm stuck with it. It's a nice to have, you know, just a bit of life whenever I kill a group of enemies. So yeah, insane crossbow. I'd go for something like this if you can. Maybe I'll do a little crafting guide, you know, to show you how I crafted this. It's not too hard, but it does require a couple of divines, but it's worth it. You're crafting like at least a 50+ divine crossbow for, you know, 10, I'd say less than 20 divines. I spent only a couple. I got really lucky. I rolled that T1 lightning damage on like my 5th chaos, so I got very, very lucky. But yeah, aim for something like this, and obviously get these 2 runes in here, which cost like 1 divine each, but it's a lot of nice added lightning damage. Before I continue, I forgot to mention, this is a full evasion build now. I've fully switched to evasion. This is because armor, it was still good. We switched from armor to full evasion because it was tanky, but it still wasn't amazing. They have tried to buff it this patch, but it's still nowhere near as good as evasion and energy shield. As well as that stat that we had on our helm and our body armor, the percent of armor applies to elemental damage. That in fact does not give you more damage. It made it seem like it did, where it says percent of armor also applies to elemental damage, not elemental damage mitigation or reduced damage against elemental hits. No, it made it seem like you were just gaining more damage, but in fact you were not. It was just reducing your damage taken from elemental hits. So that's mainly what just made me switch to full evasion, because I was only going full armor for that stat, which I thought was getting us damage from stacking armor, but in fact, it wasn't. That's my bad. The writing did make it seem like we were gaining damage. Maybe that's something the PoE team could, you know, change in the future, maybe word it a bit better, but oh well. Live, laugh, love, we learn. We've changed it, we've changed to evasion, survivability's better, the build's better. The build's just fucking insane now, okay? So yeah, we're not worrying about that anymore. So yeah, we've switched to full evasion. Moving on to the body armor. I've gone for a full evasion body armor here, pretty good one. We've got the implicit of reduced movement speed penalty from using skills while moving. I'd try and go for this one because it just feels so good while mapping. It feels amazing. Go for that if you can. And then, yeah, I got the increased evasion rating. I got +2 evasion rating. Got some life resistances. And then reduced poison duration. I did not want that. Did not need it. It just came with the armor. So all you want is the evasion, the life, and the resistances, and then the reduced movement speed penalty while using skills, while moving, implicit. Then if you can, I mean, I got really lucky with this. I got a corrupted slam chaos resistance on here. If you can get that lucky as well, I'd go for that. And then moving on to the boots, we switched to full evasion boots, so movement speed, evasion, resistances, and then more evasion, and then obviously if you can slot it on, get some rarity. It's always nice to have. And I've slotted the soul core of Takati on here for some extra chaos resistance. It's just really nice when we're doing breaches and whatnot. We don't get one shot all the time now when doing breaches because we actually have some chaos res, so yeah, definitely slot that on there. And then moving on to the gloves, switch to evasion gloves as well. My last pair of gloves, which were full armor, they were just so good. I tried to replicate them here, but I'm sadly nowhere near how good the previous gloves were. But, you know, they're still good. So you want to go for double evasion, added lightning damage to attacks, life, attack speed, resistances, and then, if you can, rarity. And then I've just slapped on a fire resistance rune to just get my fire res up. And then moving on to the ring. So I switched this ring because I didn't need the extra dexterity like I had last time. So what I've done is I've just basically took off the dex and added some more evasion on there as well as lightning damage. As you can see, I've got that increased lightning damage now plus that evasion, and obviously some rarity of items found because that's always cheeky to have. But yeah, that's my first ring. Really nice to have with that elemental resistances implicit, so if you can, go for something like that. And then this ring and this amulet have stayed the complete same, so spirit, projectile skills, resistances, life. You still really want that spirit and then projectile skills. Those are the main stats you want on your amulet. It's really good, go for that. You need the spirit on the amulet, you need it. And yeah, then moving on to the other ring, this has stayed the same as well. However, I do need to change this. I've just not found an appropriate upgrade yet, because this one still has that mana and gain 18 mana per kill on it. But because we have the Defy support gem on our Galvanic Shards and our Shot Burst rounds, we actually don't need mana, because as you can see, insufficient mana doesn't prevent the use of supported skills while surrounded, and we're always surrounded, so we just don't need mana for these skills. So if you can, I just get something without the maximum mana and mana per enemy killed. Maybe just go for some like dex, and then maybe that increased lightning damage. I've been looking for a decent ring, topaz ring, because I want the lightning res, but I haven't found anything yet. But yeah, you don't really need that mana stuff anymore, but go for the lightning damage, the rarity, resistances, and as much life as you can get. And yeah, this is the belt. It stayed the exact same, so life, mana, strength, resistances. If you're looking for a new belt, you don't need the mana anymore, as I said, because we have the Defy things. I just haven't upgraded this yet. So go for something with as much life as you can, some strength, and as much resistances as possible, and you'll be set. And yeah, those are the items for the new and improved build. So, as I said, we've switched to Constricting Command for a lot more defenses and a lot more damage, and we've switched to Full Evasion for even more defenses, so the build feels better than ever. We're very tanky, we're very powerful, we're just absolutely destroying bosses, we're just absolutely ploughing through maps, and it feels great. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the update video for Galvanic Shards Witchhunter. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you did like the video, leave a like, and if you liked it even more, leave a cheeky subscribe, okay? And if you're having any problems, or if you have any questions about the build, leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will always get back to you. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye all.